I'll Be the Water. A story of a grandpa's love. I never thought Grandpa was old. He wasn't just my grandfather. He was one of my best friends. We liked the same things like peanut butter and banana sandwiches, digging in the dirt, going fishing on hot summer days. Yeah, Grandpa. Sometimes we'd pretend his old car was a submarine. We'd look for pirates, sunken treasure. It didn't matter where we went, because every place became an adventure with Grandpa. Grandpa knew a lot about everything. I couldn't be with him for long without learning something. He would start a math lesson with a pocket full of change, or he could just turn over a rock, teach me all about science. Most of all, Grandpa and I loved to go fishing. We didn't care if we caught anything. Grandpa made me the captain of our boat. He made me feel like I could do anything if I set my mind to it. One day I noticed that Grandpa was really old. I saw his wrinkles for the first time, like his skin had grown too big for his face. Then I saw that Grandpa's hands shook when he put a worm on my fish hook, and he got up a little slower after we'd been digging in the garden. "Grandpa, are you getting old?" I asked. "Joshua," he said, "I've been getting old since I was a baby. I'm just getting better at it, that's all." We laughed and offered a toast with our ice cream cones. Then Grandpa went into hospital. He said it was just for some tests, but I felt scared. "Grandpa," I said, "I wish you weren't so good at getting old." He smiled and he said, "I always have been an overachiever." I asked my parents, what if Grandpa doesn't get better? What if the doctors can't stop him from getting old? My dad said, "Don't worry, Joshua. Everything will be fine." But Dad had said the same thing when my best friend Kenny moved away, and when my dog Barker died, and those things were definitely not fine. Grandpa finally got out of hospital, and soon we were back at the lake. He could tell how quiet I was, that something was wrong though. "Joshua, you're biting even less than the fish," he said as we ate our lunch. "What's on your mind? Are you trying to find a way to make broccoli taste like chocolate?" I never could keep a secret from him, so I asked, "Are you afraid of dying, Grandpa?" Grandpa laughed and said, "You know, Joshua, nobody really knows what dying is like. Nobody ever lives to tell about it. But I'm not afraid of dying. I still feel close to loved ones who have passed on before me, like your grandmother. I don't think of her as being gone, because each memory of her is a special gift I can unwrap again and again, and that's a gift I want to give to you too." "You know," he said, "I was about your age when my daddy died in a train accident, and I remember crying enough tears to fill 2 oceans and a bathtub. He promised us kids that he would always be there for us. I thought he had broken his promise when he died." It seemed like all the frogs and birds on the lake grew quiet to listen to Grandpa. "But it turned out that he kept his promise after all. I just had to learn to look for him with my heart instead of my eyes. Think of it this way," he said. "Today you and I are like 2 fish swimming together in this lake. And when I die, things will be different. I won't be a fish anymore. But I'll be something even better. I'll be the water. Now, you might not think that I'm with you, but we'll be closer than ever, 'cause you'll be surrounded by my love. I'll be wherever you go and by your side in whatever you do." I thought about the fish and the water beneath our boat, and about Grandpa and me, and then I began to understand. "Will you be there if I get in trouble at school?" I asked. "I'll be there," he said. "Well, what if I have to go on stage in front of everybody and I got to play the piano?" I'll be in the front row. Can you help me with my math tests? Grandpa laughed. Well, I've never been much for math, Joshua, but we'll give it a go. We laughed a lot that afternoon, and even though we didn't catch a single thing, it was the best fishing trip we ever had. It was also our last fishing trip. Grandpa went back into the hospital soon after, and the doctors weren't able to fix him. When my parents told me that Grandpa had died, I cried enough to fill 3 oceans and 2 bathtubs. I hurt inside for a long time, but then I began to see with my heart instead of my eyes, and I didn't feel so alone. As I grew older, I could see that Grandpa had actually kept his promise. His last gift to me was one that's always going to be there. Now, when my daughter and I go fishing, or toast with ice cream cones, or we dig in the dirt, or we go on imaginary adventures, I teach her what Grandpa taught me. And she knows we will never have to feel alone or afraid, because we're surrounded by a love that lasts forever. The story reminds me of my father and the love that he had for my nephew Jonathan Ferguson. And my dad was one of the best grandfathers ever, and he'll never be forgotten. John William Ferguson. We love you. For all who have been our past mentors and remain our ever-present guides.